Hello. Welcome everyone to a new video. And let me give you a warm introduction to this special series of videos slash podcasts where I'm going to be discussing within 10 episodes different things about life that matters a lot for my girls out there. Turns out that after receiving a message, and not for the first time, of one of you literally asking me for advice in a situation of their life, it really clicked on me the fact that I realized that I inspire many of you, especially women, without even noticing, just by the way that I live life, by the way that I make my life decisions, by my moves, by how much I'm driven by purpose or following my dreams or just traveling solo or traveling with a child. And I decided to open a box on my Instagram. Of course, if you're not following me on Instagram, this is the moment, at Rock Cabrera Music. And many of you gave me the answers. So I decided to create 10 special episodes that I'm going to call the Woman's Talk. Of course, men are invited, but just to give you a little hint of what these episodes are going to be about, I just brought my notebook to give you a little insight of what it's coming next. I'm going to be talking about, of course, today is about solo traveling and motherhood traveling, like traveling with a child, decision making, stepping out of our relationship, which seems to be the most interested one, being intentional, pursuing your dreams, living by purpose, standing with principles, being authentic, and of course, I will have a very special closing episode with the creator of the product that is sponsoring these episodes, which is my Sweet Gratitude Body Cream. Right now in my hands, I have the Gold Body Butter, which is my favorite one. And I love the description saying, the moment we acknowledge and accept our imperfection, we discover underneath it's pure gold. The reason why this product is perfect for this mini series is because she created her brand out of surviving the story of her life, going through a lot of pain and literally becoming gold after that. So, created with the best quality of natural and organic products, I really recommend to you for a very special glow, which you actually complement a lot in my skin. This is what I'm wearing, and you can get yours by clicking on the description down below right now. Thank you, my Sweet Gratitude, for sponsoring this mini series. I travel alone through countries which I didn't know the language. I spent hours at airport. I take in spontaneous trip and follow my intuition across the world. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepare me for traveling alone with a child. Today I want to have a real girls talk conversation about both experiences. The beautiful parts, the hard parts, freedom, the growth, and everything that nobody talks about. What inspired me to travel alone in the first place? So it was actually the desire of getting to know the world, but also accepting that it wasn't going to be a reality, the idea that I would be able to have a companionship all of the time. By the time that I was able to plan ahead my first trip, that was exactly what happened. And even though it sounds very scary, I said, okay, I don't really want to depend on someone to go after my dreams. Like, I don't have to push anyone to dream what I'm dreaming. So this totally it depends on me, and I should be able to do that alone, even if I never did it before. Of course, I had a lot of fears, because you can have fear of the unknown, but the desire was so big that I didn't care at all. And I just decided to plan it. For my first trip ever alone, I actually went on a very security idea. I did a work and travel in California United States of America, where I was in a university exchange. So I was going to travel during my college break and then come back. So it was just a couple of months. It wasn't something too long, but it wasn't just like a holiday of 15 days. I wanted something more. But what I mean it was very secure and very safe for me is because I had something planned already. Later, I went for trips totally to the unknown multiple times. But the first one, I tried to make things feel safe for me, when I'm doing it alone. So I went with a job, with a house, with people that I didn't know, but at some point I knew that I wasn't to be completely alone. So what I thought, it was like this desire and this dream is so big for me to be waiting for someone else. So I'm going to do it alone. But at the same time, I decided to make it and to create an environment that would bring me security and would bring my parents security, because of course the little girl is going so far away for the first time for a couple of months. I didn't really want to worry them so much. So that was my best idea for a first time solo traveling. And I swear, the moment you realize you can actually do it, everything changes. Many times our fears are bigger in our head than what they actually are in many situations of life. Questions to discuss. Was I scared? Absolutely yes, because I don't know tomorrow. So I can let the uncertainty overwhelm me, and yes, I can be afraid. I can be scared. Will that stop me? No. I wasn't even going to allow the fear to stop me. And I don't allow the fear to stop me in multiple situations in my life. So for sure, I needed to face it because it was my big dream. When you are really, really, really dreaming about something for many, many years and you have the opportunity right in front of you, yes, you can freeze by fear, but you shouldn't let it stop you. Did I ever feel lonely? Well, my first trip, I didn't really feel it. I just had one moment where I actually found myself like alone, but it's not the same as feeling lonely. I never really felt lonely, and this is one of the lessons that I can share with you the most as a solo traveler, as a woman that is traveling alone. Because when you are alone, you are more exposed. You are even more open yourself to meet people. So it was like there was some kind of magnetic energy that that would allow me to get to know people easier, and friendships would flow even easily. And just by the fact that sometimes people would see me traveling alone, they would approach me in a very gentle way. Don't let's make this creepy at all, because I don't have a lot of creepy stories to tell, to be honest. It doesn't mean that it doesn't happen. It doesn't mean that the world is not dangerous outside. We have to be careful, of course. But definitely, I decided not to walk life with fear. So did traveling make me stronger? Absolutely, yes. And that's one of the things that today I really feel very proud about. I do feel very brave. I do feel a very, if I have to describe myself in 3 words, brave, I think I would pick brave for sure to use it as one of those words. Because I really learned that when I take action, even with fear, oh my God, that just feeling of satisfaction that you just get, because sometimes you get to see the world and you see the wonders of the world. I don't know, I remember this feeling of having the most amazing views of a mountain right in front of me just because I took the risk, to make decisions and to go and not to depend on anyone and not to wait on anyone. And I do really feel like it really made me stronger as a person. It built character. So yeah, if you're really wondering, if you really think like you're too afraid to do something alone, in this case we're discussing about traveling the world alone, but anything that you have to do alone, just do it, because the gratification is very long term, because it's life changing. Solo traveling wasn't just about seeing new places, but it was about meeting myself in very different stages, in very different scenarios. The things that solo travel teaches you: independence, because nobody is making decisions for you, and that it's nice to have control sometimes in some kind of way. We don't have the control for anything, but at least that makes you feel a little bit. They have tiny control, 10% of control in your life, and it gives you security. Confidence, because you learn to trust yourself. The moment you feel, no, I don't like this, or yes, let's go with this, that is very important. When you are solo somewhere far away, you cannot just spend lots of times wandering around what is it that I have to do, what should I do. So problem solving is another of the things that you really learn. Sometimes you miss flight, you have to figure it out right now, there. Something can happen, like you lost luggage, maybe you get stolen, maybe you have the language barriers and it's hard to communicate, and you can get anxious and you don't know what to do. Maybe you don't have internet and you cannot pick up a ride, but you don't know how to get somewhere because you don't know the streets. There is a lot of things that you really learned by moving alone and while traveling alone, because literally when you spend a lot of time traveling, and I do experience two kind of ways when it comes to traveling. I did slow traveling, which means that I would go somewhere, I would live there for maybe a couple of months, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and then I would move to another one whenever I feel it. Or I also experience like faster traveling, when you're just visiting a couple of days, moving here from them, jumping from hotel to another, from Airbnbs, taking a bus, taking a plane, and everything just happened very, very fast. And I like them both, for sure. But both really like teaches you in a very different way. And of course, every single experience is unique. So yes, you can hear my story. You have to live your own. You can hear somebody's advices, but you have to live your own experience and make your own experience, okay? I lived 4 years in Mexico, traveling slow, moving from one place to another, whenever I decided that it was time for me to move. And Mexico, for other people, is like, oh my God, that place is so dangerous. I can be kidnapped. And I can tell you that I had the best experience in Mexico. And I can tell you that I've been in places in Mexico where I felt so secure and I was able to walk home alone at night, you know? So that's why you have to make your own experience for things and don't really rely on everyone. But something I can tell you, it's yes, as a woman, we have to be 2 or 3 times more careful with everything. One of the things that I learned to do is, you know, when you are with a man that takes care of you, we kind of relax. That's how I got stolen with a man. I never got stolen by traveling alone. I got stolen while I was with a man. And that's because I got relaxed. But when you're solo, you cannot relax. You have to be all the time alert, taking care of yourself, because no one is taking care of yourself. You cannot put yourself in dangerous situations. You will have to say no multiple times when you feel like something's weird here. And that is very, 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 very important. I had an experience where, in this case, I was with a friend, but it was the two of us, that we needed to come back to our town where we were living. We were in another small town, let's call it like maybe 2 or 3 hours away. And we kind of missed the bus. So we were waiting for another bus to come. and we were not sure where the stop was, so we were asking for the locals to let us know. And because we missed that bus, there was another guy just standing there that he told us, "Come on, I take you." And this guy actually looked in the eye to another guy, and there was like a weird look that I felt it. So we jump in the car and we sit in the car, and I just felt very, very, very something that really overwhelmed me in my chest. And I said to my friend, no, we're not going. Okay, thank you so much, bye. We got out of the car and we left. There was something strange there. And we left the car. We didn't even think about it. We just say, no, thank you, bye, and we started to walk. And then we actually catch an official taxi company, that was able to take us where we needed to go. And there was nothing sure if that was a dangerous situation, but I just felt something weird and I needed to act right there. I couldn't spend any minute just thinking, should I go? Should we go or should we not? No, I just felt something that wasn't right on place, and I said, let's go. We're not going with this guy. I don't know what type of story I would have had if we would have taken that ride with that man. But I didn't even want to know. So those are the type of decisions that you have to make when you are solo, especially as a woman. Because yes, sadly, there is a especially as a woman kind of thing. So yes, there are things that you learned. And I just think that learning those things by traveling is just absolutely amazing. Honestly, I saw myself as a traveler long term in any circumstance of my life. I saw myself traveling alone. Then I would picture myself traveling with my partner. Then I would picture myself traveling with my future family. Like, I see traveling as something that will continuously happen for the rest of my life, probably in different ways. So I never had the idea of stopping. So of course, then motherhood happened. And suddenly, I just wasn't traveling with my dreams and my luggage anymore. First time traveling with a child, I was with my partner. So it didn't feel really, really challenging or anything, because I felt that I was with someone, And but then I made the decision that I wanted to travel alone with my baby. So what I did first, it's not that I decided to, okay, let's go travel solo to Madagascar. No way. I just found like a very secure and organized place to go for a first try with my child. So I went to London, and Brussels. So as everyone knows, Europe is a very organized place to be. So once again, as you see, now that I have a baby, now that I have someone that I'm absolutely responsible for, and that I have to take care of myself and take care of my baby, things became even more organized than before. Because before I was able to plan to travel with no plan, to travel without even having an idea when I was moving to another place. I was able to accept invitations last minute and say, yes, let's go. I was able to organize different type of traveling, like hiking a volcano for 2 days. Those things with a child, unfortunately, are not going to happen anymore until he grows and he can come to the hiking with me. So traveling with a child has changed in many ways, but it's not stopping me neither. I do really enjoy the idea of being able to keep doing this and bring my child with me and start creating little memories that eventually he will have. Of course, not when he was like newborn, but I know his consciousness and his brain, he will be getting used to things just by traveling. One of the things that I can tell you for sure is that now I'm really forced to be organized in how I travel. Now this time I need to know how I am traveling, how am I getting to the Airbnb, from the airport to the Airbnb or hotel. I need to know when I'm coming back. I need to know how many days I will stay somewhere. I need to know if I'm going to have, how many resting days I will have also. And for example, let me tell you something that a lot of people underestimate, and is the fact that the younger the baby, the easiest. Now my baby is 18 months, and let me give you an example. For the next long trip that I'm planning, by long trip I mean at least 8 or 9 hours in the plane, and 100% I need to plan that to travel during the night so he can be sleeping, because there's no way that I can keep this child quiet for 9 hours sitting in the same plane for that amount of time. It's going to be absolutely impossible. So I need to plan ahead how I need to do things, because yeah, of course, with the energy that this kid has, I don't know how I would do it. Honestly, I don't know how I would do it. So I need to be very organized now. And yeah, the best way is to have him, to travel alone, to travel at night so he can sleep during travel. So those are the things that now I have to keep in mind. Packing now. Packing has become something that I get a little stressed now, because I really like to travel light very much. And when I mean light, it's just a carry-on. And I've been able to move for years with the same small carry-on, with the same luggage, carrying my entire life in just a small piece. And that was that was something big for me, because when I like consuming, I can also go to the other side. Never an extremist, but I do like shopping and obtaining new things, and but just keeping myself with my life inside of the same bag for a lot of time, that literally made me very proud. But now packing for two plus, now most of the time I'm not able to carry Maisha anymore. The first period I was able to carry with me, the baby. So it was just carrying the baby all the time, and then just luggage. Now I'm traveling with a stroller. So now it's the stroller, the suitcase, the baby, and me. So it gets a little bit more complicated. Maybe just getting out of the taxi, getting out of an Uber. I really need to be fast, think fast, like grab the baby first, then my belongings, then don't forget the stroller, and try to carry everything. I'm very organized in that. And just check that I'm not forgetting anything. It's a good exercise. It's a good exercise. But it really keeps me awake. I'm not saying that I will never make mistakes. I'm not saying that I didn't lose a couple of bottles already for the baby, for the milk. I lost a couple already. But yes, there's new things in the way that I organize myself to travel and to feel confident that now I am doing. Packing now, babies, they use a lot of clothes because they get dirty very often, but at the same time it's like very, very small. So those are the things that I'm learning to do now. And yeah, I do get a little bit stressed. So far, some of the things that I'm realizing is that I packed more for Maisha that I didn't use at the end. So I could learn to pack less. Sometimes mothers, we really, really worry. We think that we are going to need a lot of things and then we don't use it. So there's things that you can really manage. Like, I don't know. For example, you don't need 10 pair of socks. Honestly, you can 3, even 2. And you just keep washing and it's changing. Those are the little things that you learned with the process. Rest is very important now because as I was able to arrive somewhere new and just go and explore. Now with the baby, I really need to see, okay, what time is it? Sometimes, I don't know, maybe I would arrive somewhere during the night and it wasn't a problem for me to go out and explore whatever place I would be, during the night. Now, if I'm with the baby, I'm not going out, or I'm just going to check what's close enough for me to eat something and come back quickly, or, it really depends. Now I need to study things even better. And 100%, especially in the stage that my baby is right now, which is a lot of energy, I do need a lot of rest. I cannot schedule every single day to be doing some kind of activity because I do get exhausted. I do get tired. So yeah, those are the things that I learned now, and it makes the difference of traveling solo versus traveling solo with a child. And in my case, that I also blog my life and I showcase my life, and I have the opinion from others is the judgment of other people. When you're solo traveling, like, people see you as like, wow, that's so cool, you're so brave, you're so free, you're so strong, and that's so fun, it must be amazing, wow, that kind of thing. When you are solo traveling with your child, opinions can be a little different. Anyway, it was very cute. When I was, last time I was in Mendoza, I remember the driver that took us to the Alta Montaña, he asked me like, you are alone here, like traveling, wow, congratulations, congratulations, I'm so proud of you. And that was also a very nice thing. But then, especially on the internet, with people that don't really know me and they can express themselves freely on a keyboard, multiple times they really like to tell me what to do, how to do, and that I shouldn't be doing this with a baby and things like that. And that is something that now I need to struggle with. Yeah, it is just because I'm on the internet. Because of course, if nobody knows that I'm doing this, nobody can have an opinion. But in my case, that I'm sharing this and that I share it really to encourage other people to do it, because I'm not doing this to tell you, don't do this, because no, I'm able to show you how beautiful it can be as well, and that you can actually do it if you have the desire. I'm not forcing anyone, but if you have the desire and you think this is too difficult, how am I going to do to travel with a baby? It must be stressful. I mean, life is stressful. Life is hard in general. So don't overthink situations. You can manage. Girl, you can manage. I swear. You're not gonna regret it. You're not going to regret it. At least maybe you're just too pessimistic and everything is a fall for you, I see people like this, that everything is tragic. But have a little optimism, have a little courage, have a little bit of organization, organize yourself well. I believe like organization is actually saving my trips now with my Isham. And rest, because you don't want to be exhausted with a kid full of energy. So you don't want to be tired with a kid full of energy. We need to match their energy, so we need to be rested. So one day, instead of walking the streets of Lisboa, just stay in. You can have a movies Netflix day, like what I mean is traveling is not necessary be moving all the time. That's why I really love the slow traveling, but slow traveling also means to live there. And right now, in my case, I'm traveling, not traveling to live in another place. Not for now. I haven't thought about it, about moving. For now, I want to stay in Maisha. And I always use for now because, Rocio can just wake up one day and say, let's go. So I wouldn't be surprised. I'm preparing you for things that I don't even know. So don't get me out of context, please. So if we can compare and do a solo traveling versus solo traveling with a child. And if I have to compare, yeah, solo traveling, I can pack very light. And with a child, I need to pack everything, but try to make it light, because that doesn't mean that I cannot find myself with a stroller, with a luggage, and with my Isha that doesn't want to be in the stroller. He wants to be in my arms, and things like that. So organization is the key here. Solo traveling, I could be spontaneous 100%. As a mom, I need to be organized. And let me be honest, I kind of needed that. I kind of needed to be someone more organized 100%. So I'm all in organization. Now, solo traveling, you just think about yourself. Yes, you take care of yourself. Yes, you do not put in dangerous situations, girl. Don't trust everyone 100%. People are nice. Don't get me wrong. People are nice. I have the most beautiful experiences. Meeting people while traveling. Just be careful. While a baby, you need to think of both of you. Yes. Something that also, and this is, I guess, is also in general, life in general, but traveling solo, you can find like really quiet moments and moments when you can really be in solitude, if that is something that you like or enjoy, which I really like my solitude. With a child, you are in constant interaction. So at least your baby's napping, sometimes you will not find that. So that's why probably it's a little bit easier to get tired or exhausted. And that's why I remember you how important it is to have resting moments / days. And of course, the freedom that you have while you are solo traveling. You don't have to ask anyone for permission. You make your own decisions and everything. Traveling with a child is all about responsibility. You will have to say no multiple times to a very nice invitations that maybe you would like, and you have to be responsible. But, there is something, let me tell you something that I have been able to see, is that also there is a favor that comes to you while being with a child, with traveling alone with a child. As this man told me, wow, I'm so proud of you. Congratulations for traveling with your child. I also have moments where, let me share this story with you quickly before we kind of come to a closing in this episode number 1 out of 10. But for example, the time I traveled to Europe with Maisha for the first time, I thought about all of this. I organized myself very well. I tried to go light in my head, and as I planned it was just Maisha in the porter, like I was carrying Maisha with me all the time, and just a carry-on size of luggage, okay? Then in London, I made a meet and greet, which I love it, and it was very nice. And everyone literally filled me up with surprises, with gifts for Maisha and a lot of things. And of course, I did a little bit of shopping. Could not resist, let me be honest. If I wouldn't have to buy another suitcase because of the gifts, maybe I wouldn't given myself permission to shop. It was just an excuse. But suddenly, out of nowhere, out of my organized plan, I find myself with a baby and 2 suitcases, okay? So I remember, for example, being at the train station, alone with my bag, with the baby, with 2 suitcases. And yeah, it can sound like it's very complicated and stressful and hard to do it. But you know what? I didn't have to worry, because at the moment that I was about to step in the train, there was a couple behind me, and the guy said, "You don't worry, let me help you, please." And he carried both of my suitcases. At the moment that I went off, he looked at me and he said, "You don't even move, you just go, I carry the luggage for you." Like those things really happen. As I tell you, I have met wonderful people traveling. I have seen that there's kind people in the world. by traveling, you know? I'm not someone that thinks, oh, the world is cruel and things like that. No, I was able to receive help in many ways, even before while I was solo traveling, not just with a child, but I can tell you, like, when something may look like it's hard or it's difficult, you know, something like that can happen. Like, oh, how am I going to do with it? So much luggage right now. I didn't have to worry because I had someone carrying the luggage for me that didn't even know me, you know. But he said, "I got you. You don't even worry." Like literally like that, you know. So those things, I just wanted to share it with you to encourage you, you know. And and don't get me wrong, of course there is another scenarios. I can honestly say that sometimes this can be a little different depending on where you are. The culture, the manners in the cultures can change a bit. I'm not gonna mention any specific place, but I've been, I don't know, in a bus in an airport, standing with Maisha in my hands, you know, and I would have men sitting, just looking at me like that, and just moving his eyes to another side. Like I don't even care that you are standing and carrying a baby, you know. And the moment that I step in another country, maybe I don't even have to think. I can go with a baby in a bus, and any man or any woman will step and they will say, please come and sit, you know. I've experienced that. I can tell you that I've experienced those things, but I just don't overthink it. I allow myself to go with the flow with these things. So yeah, now that I've made the comparison, you know, honestly I can say that neither is better. They're simply very different versions of freedom. What traveling with a child has taught me? Patience. Oh my God, patience. And I say patience because I'm also going through a moment where God is asking me to be patient. And maybe that's one of the lessons that I need to learn the most right now. But yes, that is one of the things that a kid will come to show you, my dear. And presence, of course, as well, like slowing down, and seeing the world with new eyes as well. I'm really thinking about a new destination pretty soon to go with Maisha, and I'm kind of overthinking a little bit because it is a place that is very known for being unsafe and insecure. So I really think like, should I really go? But of course, there are places where it's very secure, very safe. So I'm thinking, okay, if I go anyway, how can I make it the most secure way? Because that's the question that I need to do now, especially that I'm with a baby. And I said, okay, there are places that I would really like to go, and they are probably very, very touristic, but I may have to say no for being with my baby. So yeah, that's how things change. So maybe I have to see this very beautiful city with new eyes and enjoy places that nobody really goes, that they are not the most touristic, and who knows which wonders I may find for doing that. When I travel alone, I was always chasing the next experience, and traveling with my son taught me to stop and to notice the little things. The things that nobody talks about. The loneliness. Sometimes there isn't another adult to talk to or someone to help you with the baby. Sometimes I cannot shower until I'm not 100% sure that Maisha is fully asleep and he's not. And still, sometimes he just wake up when I'm in the middle of the shower. I had moments where I just needed to get out of whatever I was in my showering moment because he woke up. So those are the things that happen with traveling with a baby. You know, sometimes it's like, oh, you know, those moments. And yeah, sometimes you just don't have someone that, can you just take a look on him for 10 minutes? I go take a shower. No, you have to be very specific and, okay, I'm going to wait until he's fully asleep for me to do it and to be able to rinse my hair, you know what I mean? The exhaustion, because traveling with a child is work, 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 work. So don't forget to plan resting days. Days when you are going to stay all day at the hotel. You're not getting out. Even a day where you're ordering room service, okay? You get tired 2 times more. And yeah, I already mentioned this, but yeah, the opinion of others. Because yeah, there were moments where I questioned myself, like, am I crazy for doing this? Like, is it that bad? You know, like, is really this? But at the end of the day, it's like, I know how happy is my child and how happy I am. So that is actually what pleased me the most. I know when my baby is tired and I need to go back to the hotel. I know when he's stressed and I need to slow down. I know when he really enjoys to go for a walk on the strollers. So people will have opinions and they will judge you for the things that they never had the courage to do, especially. People will judge you because they would like to be doing what you're doing. And people will just judge you because they just don't like you. They just want to bring you down for whatever. And others for overprotection, you know. Or just because they think that you shouldn't be doing that because that's wrong. And yeah, you will have to deal with that. Not necessarily even being a content creator. Maybe just posting a picture on your Instagram, you know. So you never know. Just deal with it and just don't give it too much airtime. What I can say is that solo traveling and motherhood traveling have things in common because they both require courage, my dear. A lot of courage, trust, adaptability, that is very important, resilience, and openness. Honestly, before becoming a mother, I thought that solo traveling was the bravest thing I've ever do. I felt the coolest girl in the room. But now that I'm traveling with a child and that I realized that motherhood asks for many of the same muscles, but in different ways. Unstoppable here, unstoppable. My advice for the women who want to do this: if you want to travel alone, start small. You can just plan your first 1 week vacation on your own. Trust yourself, because you can do it. You can do it. This one, talking here, making a little big noise, not just a little, a lot of noise. And don't wait for the perfect moment. Just set a day. Make numbers. Plan ahead. And set a date. Say, okay, this in 2 months, this day, I'm going. Because nothing prepares you more than knowing that you are actually doing it. And if you want to travel with your child, mama, you don't need to be perfect. Children are more adaptable than we think. And the memories are absolutely worth it. Whether you're traveling alone or carry a little hands in yours, every journey changes you. One teaches you who you are when no one is watching. And the other one teaches you who you are when someone depends on you. And both, in their own way, bring you home to yourself. My dear sister, I hope you like this video and I hope to see you on the next one. Bye bye bye.